Hello, hello, bookish friends. Rebecca here, the Dragon Librarian from Farmington Community Library. And Ling and I are here today to talk to you about a couple books that we think are fantastic reads that are perfect for this time of year. So we've got Valentine's Day coming up next week, right? And I don't really talk about romance stories very often in these videos. So I thought now might be a really good time to do that. So I've actually broken it up into two different segments because I feel sometimes readers are gravitating towards one or the other. Not to say that you can't love both. I do love both, and so many people do, I'm sure, but I wanted to break it up in terms of what you may be looking for specifically. So this week I'm going to be talking about a couple sweet romantic love stories, romances. And next week I'm going to be talking about some spicy love stories. So what's the difference if you're not too familiar with it? It could mean something different for everybody, but how I understand it is a sweet love story is a story or a book that focuses more on the romance aspect of it and the falling in love part and the relationship aspect of it. And a spicy love story is going to be it's going to include a lot of explicit content. We'll just leave it at that, and you can fill in the blanks as you may wish. So that's not to say, and I do want to make an important distinction with this, that's not to say that any sweet love story that I talk about on here doesn't have any sex in it. It's just that that's not the focus of the story, right? So the focus of the story is going to be the love itself, the relationship, the whole falling in love part of it. Whereas the spicy books are more focused on that aspect of it, and the story kind of will come together around that aspect of it. So this week, like I said, sweet love stories. And I want to say romance rather than love story, actually, because I know I've talked about it before. There's a difference between a love story and a romance. A romance is guaranteed either a happily ever after or a happily for now. So even if it's not an ever after ending, it does end on a happy note. It's not going to leave you crying. So a lot of love stories fall under literary fiction rather than romance because they end tragically or sad. Not talking about those today. We're talking about happy endings only. Okay, so the very first one is called Little Beach Street Bakery by Jenny Colgan. Doesn't that look delicious? Every time I see this, I just want to eat this cupcake, or any cupcake, really, or anything sweet, really. Jenny Colgan, I really love. This is actually the first book in a series. She has a series that is based on this area, this town that it takes place in, and these characters, which is really, really fun. So it takes place on the Cornish seaside little town, and Polly is fleeing to this town because she was just out of a ruined, horrible relationship. So she's left this relationship. She's starting over, wants a brand new start. So she comes to this little town. Not a lot going on. It's not really a thriving place. There's an empty storefront. It's kind of abandoned. Not abandoned, but it's not a hustle and bustle place. Well, she realizes that what she wants to do is actually be a baker here. So she loves making dough and bread and treats and all this stuff. She strikes up a friendship with a local beekeeper and gets her honey from him. And basically this is a story of her falling in love with this town, with this store that she is creating, and maybe even with this beekeeper. We'll have to see. But this is a really sweet story. It's a feel-good, happy, wonderful little story. If you're looking for something to make you feel good, this is the first book in the series, so it's a good one to start with. I actually didn't start with this book. I didn't realize it was a series, and I picked up one of the later books, and it's really good at catching you up if you haven't started right from the beginning. So if you pick up any of the books in the series, it would be probably fine. I don't think you'll be too lost. But this is just a really sweet, like I said, feel-good story. Not only just about the love between her and the other character, but basically finding love for herself in this town and that she has come to, and all the people that live in it. And it's a beautiful story. Very atmospheric. Loved it. Little Beach Street Bakery. The next one is a book that introduced me to this author, and she's written a number of books, but this is the first one I read by her, and it made me fall in love with her writing completely, and that is Beach Read by Emily Henry. I love this author. Everything she writes now is just an automatic read for me. I will automatically put it on hold as soon as I know she's got a new book coming out, because she's got a lot of really good things going for her. So the writing is phenomenal in her stories. I've read most of what she's written at this point, and the writing is always really good and very engaging. The characterization is really good, and the dialogue between characters in this book in particular is outstanding. So this is about two writers. We've got August and January. They are both writers, but they write very different kinds of stories. So August writes literary fiction, kind of like what I mentioned before. So he writes these stories with these tragic, momentous things that happen in them. And January writes love stories, romances. So they write very different. They are completely on separate wavelengths. The only thing that they have in common is that they are now vacationing in neighboring beach houses, and actually in Michigan. This takes place in Michigan. So they are staying near each other, but they kind of look down on each other. They both don't really take the other one seriously. January thinks August is kind of a stick in the mud and dreary, and he thinks she is like a froofy, nothing in her brain person. So the other problem that they share is that they both have writer's block at the beginning of this vacation. So they're trying to write what they want, but they can't. So they get the crazy idea that they're actually going to try to write each other's story. So January is going to try to write a serious, great American novel, and August is going to try to write a romance book. So to do this, they go on day trips together, where she shows him all these different ways you can write these love stories. They go on these trips, and he does the same thing with her. So of course, it's all just research, right? Nothing's going to happen. No feelings are going to develop between the two of them, right? I'll leave you to figure that out. So, like I said, the dialogue in this book is so amazing. It was hilarious. It was great. The banter between the two characters was phenomenal and fantastic. I loved it so much. And this is what sealed the deal for me with always wanting to read Emily Henry's books. So she's got a couple of other ones out there that are fantastic too. And then she's got another one coming out this spring, I think May or June. So that is Beach Read, Emily Henry. Those are the ones we've got for you today. I hope that you like these really sweet stories that we talked about. Like I said, next week we're going to talk about a little bit of a spicier variety of love stories and romances. So that should be pretty fun. But if you like this video today, please give it a like. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. And all these books are available at Farmington Community Library. So please feel free to put them on hold. Come in and see us and tell me what you think of them. Thanks so much, and have a wonderful rest of the day.